Yo, welcome to another episode of the Simply Ball Dropping Podcast. I'm your host and the man behind the mic, K Sap. We got a great show lined up for you guys today. Once you come across the video, make sure you share it out. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, turn on your post notifications so you'll know when Simply Ball Dropping drops another hot banger. Like I said on this channel, we cover sports, hot topics, roundtable talk, and marriage chronicles. And like I said, y'all know what my mantra is. Tell a friend to tell a friend. It might not be for you, but it might be for them. Well, like I said, guys, we got a great show lined up for you guys today. Everybody's been following along with the story. Everybody been following along with the reasons ESPN had the major layoff and there were some shakeups. People was moved around. But before we get off into it, man, this show is sponsored by...
This episode is sponsored by True Choice Insurance. Here at True Choice, we take a different philosophy when it comes to providing you with your insurance options. We emphasize the value of the products we offer, instead of playing on the fear of you not being protected in your time of need. True Choice is affiliated with more than 60 insurance companies. This makes us one of the most independent agencies in the state of Texas. Please visit TrueChoiceInsurance.com for all your insurance needs.
Once again, man, shout out to my man Brian Kelly and his wife over there at True Choice Insurance. You guys get with them for all your insurance needs. Visit their website at www.truechoiceinsurance.com and tell them KSAP sent you. For today's show, like I said, man, things in the media world are getting kind of testy. It seems like everybody wants to expose each other. This latest incident stems off of, when Stephen A. Smith was on the Joe Budden podcast, and Joe Budden, asked him certain questions about a particular individual, and Max Kellerman, the reason why Max Kellerman was no longer with First Take. And you guys know that Max Kellerman was on First Take for a 5-year stint. And to me, the show was doing real well. I mean, the ratings, they never dipped. They stayed the same. They probably elevated just a little bit, but to me, that was a great show when it, came to when Stephen A. was debating with Max Kellerman. And y'all know the history with Max Kellerman and his background. He wasn't a journalist. He was a well-educated guy that was from an Ivy League school out there in Columbus, South Carolina. Well-educated. He spoke well, articulated his words, to where people could understand what he was saying. Highly intelligent, in the boxing realm. He spoke highly on boxing, could give you a breakdown, and you wouldn't even have to watch boxing, but listening to Max Kellerman, he made it make sense. But, he was let go, from ESPN First Take after a 5-year stint. So recently, like I said on the Joe Budden podcast, I don't have to play the clip to let you guys listen to what Stephen A. said and the reason why he was let go. But it sparred a war of words between, Stephen A. Smith and Terrell Owens. Once Terrell Owens found out about the podcast that Stephen A. Smith was on with Joe Budden, they started a Twitter beef, and he was threatened to expose T.O. But now the reports come out that somebody knows the real reason why Max Kellerman was let go, from ESPN First Take. A little history on Max Kellerman. Max Kellerman, he was working with ESPN for a while. He's always found his way around ESPN, with different type of jobs. He had his own show before, he became, on ESPN First Take with Stephen A. Smith before he became his counterpart. Max used to have a show, called Max. It was almost like a podcast. It was a radio talk show, talking about topics. People would call in and, he did his thing. And then all of a sudden he got moved up, and a certain individual by the name of Stephen A. Smith wanted him on ESPN First Take. to replace Skip Bayless when Skip Bayless signed that lucrative deal with Fox Sports over there at FS1 and started Undisputed. And him and Shannon Sharp teamed up. And all of a sudden, 5 years later, Max Kellerman gets let go from ESPN First Take. And everybody put it out there that Stephen A. Smith wanted Max Kellerman gone. If you listen to the Joe Budden podcast, he'll tell you exactly the reason why he wanted him gone. But Marcellus Wiley, he knows Skip Bayless. He's worked with him. He's worked with Jason Whitlock. He's worked with Max Kellerman. He's also worked with Stephen A. Smith. And Marcellus Wiley gives his breakdown on the real reason why Stephen A. Smith wanted Max Kellerman gone. Marcellus Wiley has worked with Max Kellerman in the ESPN realm. Marcellus Wiley had his own show on Sports Nation. I mean, he was, with Michelle Beadle and Jason Whitlock. He said some things about Jason Whitlock when Jason Whitlock tried to expose the real reason why Shannon Sharp got let go from Fox Sports. And we'll get off into that later. But at the same time, Marcellus Wiley has put a new perspective on the reason why Stephen A. Smith wanted Max Kellerman gone from ESPN First Take. I'm just going to play a little clip of what Marcellus Wiley said on his latest podcast, because he does a podcast. And then once we listen to the clip, we'll come back and we'll finish the show. Take a listen.
I know Max. I know Stephen A. Stephen A. wanted Max for very specific reasons. Now, I'm going to say these reasons, and everybody's going to have a reaction. He wanted Max first because he was white. He wanted Max second because he was intelligent. He wanted Max third because Max can speak on all things. But I don't think he paid enough attention, because he got slapped in the face for who Max really is. And then y'all saw the awkwardness that ensued because Max all of a sudden couldn't be who Max really was. Let me take you through it. Stephen A's First Take, the show wanted Max to speak for white America. Especially when you lose Skip Bayless, you get Max. Now, it's not just Max speak for white America, but that would allow Stephen A., brother, get to speak for black America. Now, here's the problem. Stephen A., the entertainer, had to meet Max Kellerman, the educator. And boy, that was a class that had a different lesson plan. Stephen A. realized quickly that he was dealing with a whole different animal, especially on black issues, especially on societal issues. He started to realize he was getting outshined in those conversations. Outshined for these reasons, and I know these reasons. Because Max Kellerman is not only a historian, he has a degree in history from Columbia University, same school I went to, Ivy League school. But the dude is a bona fide genius. Like, he is next level brainiac, for real. High school test scores off the charts. Like, next level dude. I'm just giving it to you like it is. And Stephen A. Smith has admitted many a times how he had his own learning disabilities and issues growing up. So that is, no matter how much he has advanced past that, and you can see the immense vocabulary, etc., and his intelligence on display, it's an insecurity for Stephen A. because he speaks on it as how that was an insecurity. That's fine. But now we got a problem, because you got Max Kellerman in there who's supposed to go with the flow on these conversations or defer.
Wow. Marcellus Wiley said a lot there. Let me give you my takes on that. First off, basically what he's saying is Max was brought on the show because Stephen A. Smith wanted him. He thought Max was going to come on the show and follow the script. Well, Max didn't follow the script. Max got out of script, and Stephen A. felt the pressure, and he felt threatened by what Max Kellerman brought to the table. Even though he didn't play no sports, even though he didn't go the journalist route, he's a well-educated man that speaks well, and he articulates his stuff, like I said, in a fashion where people understand it. And Stephen A. was threatened by that. And then another sense, Marcellus said that he was just supposed to be a puppet. And then Stephen A. found out who the real Max Kellerman was, and he started really outshining Stephen A. Smith. So basically what Stephen A. Smith was saying on Joe Budden's podcast, the reason why he let, Max go, he wanted him out, is because he said things was stale. Now, Max was getting his shine on in some of the debates that y'all was having about different topics, even on, a cultural level, on blacks, whites, all the historian conversations. Max was letting Stephen A. have it. And a lot of people saw that. Like I said, Max, I didn't have a problem with Max. Max was doing a great job. And I just thought that, damn, why did they get Max out of there? It had to be a reason. And Marcellus Wiley, like he said, he knows both of them. He's worked with both of them. He knows who the real people are. And basically, Max Kellerman was climbing that ladder, and Stephen A. Smith had to put that fire out. There's a lot of things that Marcellus Wiley's, said that, is cultivating to me because of the fact that, you bring a guy on that you thought that was just going to be a puppet and just stand down on everything that you said. But then Max Kellerman, as being a very well smart person, highly spoken, it was just natural. And his natural ability to debate some of the topics that Stephen A. was, bringing forth, Max was shining. Yeah, Max had his, moments where he was talking about he would take Kawhi Leonard over Kobe Bryant and things like that. Iguodala with the last shot over Steph. He had some outlandish takes. But a highly educated, smart guy like that, when it came to different topics, he was getting his shine on. And Stephen A. Smith felt threatened, man. And I'm glad that Marcellus Wiley came out and stated that. Everybody has an opinion. Marcellus Wiley has another opinion on, Jason Whitlock. He said Jason Whitlock is a fraud. He said he is a wolf in sheep's clothing. Y'all stay tuned for that podcast. Well, you guys, let me know what y'all think in the comments about what Marcellus Wiley said about Stephen A. Smith and the real reason why he let Max Kellerman go. Like I said, keep sharing the podcast. Keep telling a friend to tell a friend. Also keep commenting. I see all your comments. #salute. Like I said, we're going to start doing them giveaways, audience engagement. We're going to open up the phone lines. We're going to start taking calls. Y'all stay tuned, man. It's only up from here. And that's going to wrap up another episode of the Simply Ball Dropping Podcast. Once again, I'm your host and the man behind the mic, K-Sap. Catch you on the next one. Deuces.
Thanks for listening to the Simply Ball Dropping Podcast. Be sure to subscribe, like, and share on all major platforms.
Another one.